You're listening to Comic Reflections, episode 169. I'm your host, Nicholas Prom.
And I'm Spencer Valandez.
Yes. Comic Reflections is brought to you by Rhymes with Geek. You can check out our show, plus many other cool podcasts like the all-new Anti-Fanboy, Feed It Comics, and Ultimate Facepalm at rhymeswithgeek.com. Comic Reflections is also available on backissueheroes.com, the home of classic comics on the web. And if you enjoy our show, please subscribe to us on either iTunes or Stitcher. Yes, things.
Do it.
Yes.
Yeah.
So today this episode anyway, we're doing a double recording session today, but we were going to continue our series on The Walking Dead. It's Walking Dead Chapter 3. Our previous episodes we talked about Walking Dead were 161 and Actually, don't even quote me that. I have 151 and 166.
All right.
I think. So, yes.
Yeah.
Yay. So, yes, Walking Dead Chapter 3, The Heart's Desire. It reprints Walking Dead numbers 19 through 24, written by Robert Kirkman, the art by Charlie Adler and Cliff Rathburn.
The Heart's Desire?
Yes.
Okay.
You know what I did?
What did you do?
I just screwed up this whole thing because I wrote the notes for Chapter 4 instead of 3. Anyway, it's Chapter 3, whatever those issues are, the ones before 19.
Yeah, it's
Probably
18. It's 2 Chapter 8, issue 18.
Yeah. Oh my god. Yeah, look it up on your phone. Look at how I just dropped the ball because I just read Chapter 4 for next week.
Right.
Oh.
We'll get this for you in just a second.
This is awesome.
Our friend Sean is here. Sean,
hey, everybody!
Yeah.
Are you ready to laugh?
Great.
Oh.
Suspenders pulled.
Filling. Issues 13 through 18.
Yay, that's what I meant to say. So, but I get the credits are the
Amateur
same.
hour.
Jeez, it really is. I have one time on the show with Jeff, he had the comics that we read out of order, and I was giving the wrong credits.
Oh no!
Because I didn't check
Right.
the pile. I assumed that he would just read the comics in the pile, the
Right.
order I gave him. Wrong. Never made that assumption again.
Right.
So I was like, well, that doesn't seem to match what I remember. Oh wait, I was giving the wrong credits.
Right.
I was so pissed.
So
And he laughed. He laughed, and I was furious because I try to be professional on the show.
Right.
But we can be loose today.
Yeah.
He
But
wasn't
anyway,
laughing
we're
for
reading
long.
chapter. What's that?
He wasn't laughing for
Oh,
long.
jeez. But anyway, this is Chapter 3, Safety Behind Bars, issues 13 through 18, Walking Dead.
Absolutely.
Yes, let us begin with this. Let's go.
All right. So we left off our group of weary folks are coming over a hill, and Rick sees a prison. And our first full-page panel here.
Splash page.
Splash
page.
Splash page is hard for me to say.
Okay.
Is the RV rushing into the prison? The gates are open, but it is just totally infested with zombies.
Yes. Imagine that.
Yeah, and so their first goal is to kind of
In a world infested with zombies. Did you spit all over your comic
I did
book?
spit all over my book. I meant to.
Okay.
It's a territorial thing. That
Okay. All right, now you've claimed it.
It was already yours.
Right?
The first thing they need to do is close these gates. They've been open this whole time, and they need to get them closed so no
Place is
more zombies.
crawling with zombies,
Yeah.
yo.
So they kind of split the group, which, terrible idea. Always terrible. I don't care where you are.
Sometimes you have to split up to get tasks done.
Yeah.
So,
And so, let's see, it's Tyrese, Rick, and Andrea. They kind of go into the prison proper.
to clear zombies.
clear out
While everybody
zombies.
else stands by and watches.
Yeah, they're kind of behind the gate on the outside still.
Yeah.
There's a couple layers of gates.
Yeah,
And
which
they're
is
in
smart.
between.
The thing is, they're still just like, hey, let's just use our guns instead of relying on melee weapons that anybody can wield.
Right, yeah.
Like machete, hammer. Well, Tyrese is pretty good with the hammer already.
Yeah,
And he's using a hammer.
He usually sticks with a hammer throughout the whole issues. Just because he's kind of terrible with a gun. He can't shoot straight.
Yeah.
But Andrea is awesome with her rifle, so she kind of hangs back. She takes out ones that might be getting too close that they're not noticing, while Rick and Tyrese go to town with their hammer and hatchet.
Yes.
And they clear out a large space, but then they hear a creaking and a
a door. They're in the prison yard,
right?
And then doors open, and here come a bunch of zombies.
Yeah, a flood of zombies, and we have these awesome. This chapter is full of awesome
just kills.
Yeah, it's just tons and tons of awesome fight scenes, and it's sometimes a little stressful. You're like, well, there's so many. How are they going to get out of this? And then you're like, oh, I'll turn the page, and they're free.
Yay!
We hear blam blam blam, and Alan. You'll remember his wife was 8 in the last episode.
Yeah, but it's okay. I didn't like her.
Yeah, she was kind of judgmental and a little pushy.
She's kind of a bitch. Let's just say it.
Yeah.
Alan's wife is a bitch.
Alan's wife.
And now she's dead. Lesson? I think so. Okay.
And so Alan is sitting on top of the RV and he's just in tears still.
Yeah, because he's sad.
I mean,
and stuff.
it's not been. It might have been like a couple days since his wife died.
Yeah, and like she was a bitch, but he loved her.
Right. Yeah.
Whatever. There's no accounting for taste.
Right. And
I've
so
already forgotten her bitch name.
Donna.
Oh yeah. Thank you.
We have Andrea running up. She needs bullets.
What was her last name? McBitcherson? Donna McBitcherson.
I think that's correct. And Alan needs to get Andrea some more rounds because she's running out of bullets and there's a crap load of zombies.
Indeed.
But
Andrea's a great shot, so yay for her.
Right. And we have. Oh, I didn't write my note. We have Tyrese's daughter and her boyfriend in the RV with the kids, and they've kind of been relegated to like babysitter duty.
Yeah.
And he's really resentful of this because
he wants to go bone his girlfriend.
Well, that and like when you're relegated to babysitter duty, you're kind of telling the younger person, "Hey, your skills aren't up to snuff.
You have no skills.
You're basically
just watch
a kid
the kids.
anyways.
Get the hell out of my way.
Yeah,
we got man stuff to do."
Yeah.
And as an adolescent male, I'm sure that's a crappy feeling.
Right.
You know?
Carl calls him on his crap.
Hey, Carl. Carl!
So we try not to do this very often, but in comparison, at this point in...
Oh, we mean TV and
yeah.
book? We're just going to do them endlessly
right.
anyway. Just there's no point in trying not to do it.
Absolutely.
It's going to happen. So.
The comparison between comic book Carl and television Carl at this point in the series, in the books and where it takes place kind of in the series, this kid is way better than the TV Carl.
Yeah. Although I think TV Carl has grown to be much better than this, but I mean, I don't know how he develops in the comics. I haven't read that far yet.
Right.
Yet.
But this like he kind of understands more that shit's gone crazy.
Word.
He needs to follow directions. He needs to stay in the RV. He needs to stay in the cell. He needs to stay where he needs to stay.
Well,
so he's safe.
Yeah, and he's learning those survival skills. So, like, the hang back, don't get eaten, that's a good one.
Absolutely. And so we have Carl calling the boyfriend of Tyrese's daughter on his stuff. And the guy kind of comes back at Carl and is really rude to him. We have Alan like running in, getting his getting the ammo and running out. We have this sweet little not interruption.
Interlude?
Yeah.
Subplot? These are words.
Yeah. Carl and Sophia, they're playing Go Fish. And Sophia looks at Carl and asks, "Hey, will you be my boyfriend?" And he goes, "Ew, gross! Girls are gross!"
Did we have this conversation before that all prepubescent boys are basically gay?
We haven't. But, I mean, yeah.
Yeah, I think once you hit puberty, then you stop being gay.
Yeah, a little bit.
Most of us. I'm not judging, but I'm saying like I think like just like if you're a prepubescent boy, you're a homo. I just think that's there.
I remember liking girls as a prepubescent boy, though. I just not knowing how to contextualize it.
Okay,
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's a couple names pop in my head.
Yeah.
Oh, girls.
Yeah.
See, I don't go that far back. I'm like the ones that stick with me are usually like chicks I met in college.
Well, that might just be because of your age at this point.
I'm 32 years old.
Sorry.
So,
And-
Nick, this is actually
And
an
and,
invention.
and all the chicks that I knew in college were like 8 to 10 years younger than me, generally. But I was in babe heaven, let me tell you, which was a totally new thing. Like I'm not going to share this much right now. We need to go to
we
the
should
show.
change the topic of our
Yes,
podcast.
I'm like, wait a second.
Nick's
No,
life.
Welcome,
No.
welcome to Life Reflections, everybody.
no. Well, let's get back to this. I'm like, I do not want to get down this trail here because it's not going to portray me in a positive light.
Back to the books. Gross girls.
So we transition over to
Shit. God. Okay.
so we transition back to In Between the Two Gates with Dale, Lori, and Carol. And Lori is just kind of being a moody bitch. However, she is pregnant.
And she's
And-
still a million times better than TV Lori.
And hormones are raging through her body.
Yeah.
And so she has a very bleak outlook on things. And she's kind of... she's blaming it a lot on the hormones, which totally... I've never been pregnant, and so I can't understand.
I've been
however-
around people who've been pregnant, and
Yeah.
it is a rather drastic change in mood that
Yeah.
happens.
Okay.
But Carol kind of calls her on it, and she's like, look, I know you're pregnant, and your hormones are crazy, but you're depressing me. Let's talk about something else. And so... we kind of have like a bit of a shift with Lori, which is good. But then we transition back to Tyrese, Rick, and Andrea, who have just kind of finished clearing out all these zombies that came out of the prison block.
Word.
And they're kind of worried because they're running low on ammo. They there were so many that they're tired.
Yeah.
And so Rick kind of fires off a final shot to try to lure any more out.
Yeah.
But then we have this awesome panel of showing all of the zombies that they killed.
Yeah.
And there are a crap ton of zombies.
Word.
And so obviously the first thing you have to do is start burning them.
Which is gross.
Yeah.
I mean, like the stinky dog poopy duties that you would have
Right.
in the zombie apocalypse. Ugh.
Uh,
Touching dead things, burning dead things.
I think they do a good job in this series
Yeah.
talking about those little things. I'm never going to get used to that smell.
Mhm.
The daily burning of the zombies.
Yeah.
Taking care of, like, just daily stuff.
Yeah.
Um,
I mean, it's good that you I think if you get used to that, in a way it's positive because that's your reality, but also, like, man, getting used to that also, you've lost something of
Right.
yourself from
Yeah,
the
totally.
past. Yeah.
So, moving right along, they've decided to stay between the fences that first night.
Right.
They don't want to venture too far into the prison because they don't know what's in there.
Right.
They don't know how many zombies are in there. They don't know what's going on yet.
Mm-hmm.
So they're staying out there. And Tyrese and Rick have this kind of interaction. It's a little weird. Rick is coming up to... No, sorry. Tyrese is coming up to replace Rick on watch.
Mm-hmm.
And Tyrese makes a joke. Rick, if we don't end up staying here, I'm shooting myself in the face. I'm not spending another night in this RV. And Rick is kind of concerned. Like, he's like, whoa. That's like, whoa.
I think
He's like, whoa, man, I'm joking.
I
You
think
gotta-
this chapter and next, Rick gets a little too involved in other people's emotional shit that they're going through,
Right.
and it's to his detriment as a leader.
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, he does kind of swallow. He's like, "Hey, Rick, I'm joking, relax." And he's like, "Man, I'm on no sleep.
Yeah.
I can't be joking like that right now."
Yeah.
You know, which I mean, he hasn't been sleeping. He's the leader of this crazy group
Yeah.
of people.
And Rick actually shouldn't care if somebody decides to kill themselves, because that's another mouth to feed. That's one other person he doesn't have to try and take care of. Or worry about.
I see that sentiment, but I think at the same time, Rick is so already invested in these people that he can't let that happen.
I guess. And he's also still hanging on to, he is kind of an authority like from the previous world.
Right, yeah.
That has collapsed.
Right.
He's a cop, so he has a level of responsibility he feels like as a, I don't know what, like a leader, some kind of leader of society or a remnant of what once was that he's clinging to.
Mm-hmm.
So I think this and the next chapter are kind of like Rick's transition. And so there's some rough stuff that Rick's got to kind of work through, and no. So this and the next chapter is kind of like some hypocrisy with Rick and some changes.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So fast forward to the next morning, and we have this great page of interaction between Rick and Lori, where Lori is barfing her brains out.
Barfing?
Because of the morning sickness with the pregnancy
Yeah.
and all that. But she does mention, look, I've not eaten enough to be throwing up, so it's a lot more kind of dry heaves than anything. Yeah. And Rick, I mean, being the sweet guy that he is, he says, give me a kiss. This is the most beautiful you've ever been. Like, it's this weird, like, snapshot that doesn't belong.
Like, he's being a good husband, but, like,
this doesn't belong in this.
One of these things is not like the other.
In this situation,
one of these things is kind of the same, or something like that.
Something.
You know how that goes? Sesame Street.
Well, yeah.
Sean was just dancing. It was really funny.
Hey!
It doesn't belong in the zombie apocalypse.
Okay.
It's a weird. It's like a weird bubble. Like, oh my gosh, my wife is still beautiful and I love her, and
that's good. That, he's such a good guy. I think it was in the show. Was it in the show that he basically said he'd boned no other chicks than his wife, and Shane had just screwed like the whole cheerleading squad, basically? Wasn't that on the show?
I don't remember.
I feel like that was like.
I mean, it sounds right.
It was like season 1, so that they're talking.
Dick.
Yeah.
A giant walking one.
Yeah.
So. And so we kind of move on. Everyone kind of comes out of the.
I don't know why I brought that up.
Everyone.
I don't know if Shane was a man whore in that.
Excuse me. Everyone kind of clambers out of the RV, and they start kind of assigning jobs. Like, all right, I know everyone's anxious to get out there and find the food and like all that stuff, but we got to do this right. We got to do it slow and we got to do it smart. Just because we have weapons doesn't mean anything at this point, because they can zombies can overwhelm us at any point.
Sure.
And so they kind of break off into groups and kind of get their parties going. We finally have their names: Chris and Julie, the star-crossed lovers.
I don't think we didn't have their names before.
Well, I just couldn't remember them.
Oh, so you just remembered. That's what you're trying to say. Oh, now I remember. We finally get. Now you remember. Those are different things.
Chris and Julie are then once again relegated to babysitting.
Yeah.
And again, they're kind of pissed off about it. Andrew says, I'm the best shot here. I should be going with you. But Rick is like, yeah, you're a great shot from 15 yards away. We don't need that in a close space because of ricochets and all that crazy stuff.
Mm-hmm.
We have this weird... on this page, we have this weird kind of interaction with Tyrese, where they all have to go into the prison, but he's like, oh, I guess it's a bad time to tell you I'm afraid of the dark, because the power's out, they're going into a sealed prison,
and it's dark
not
and
many
stuff.
windows, and so they gather up some flashlights, and they head in. And they make it to the first cell block, and it's pretty cleaned out. They think the zombie horde that came at them last night was kind of hanging out in this cell block, and were able to move out, and they would take care of them.
Oh, man.
Yeah. Let's see. Oh, they find a dead one. Oh. So they make their way farther in, and they come to a blocked door.
Okay.
There's like a pipe in the door handles, and it's kind of sealed away. And so it's really dark, and Tyrese and Rick are in there, and they're like, well, we need to see what's in there. We just got to do it. And so they make a plan. They open the doors and go! Full splash panel. Splash page. Got it.
Yeah.
Didn't even have to tell me.
Yeah. So no, here's the thing. Splash page, when it's usually referred to as the splash page, when it's the opening panel of the issue.
Okay.
And for any time in a story when you get a 1 or a 2 page, we just refer to it as a splash.
A
full page splash or a 2-page splash.
Okay.
So.
Well, this is a full page splash.
Yes.
And there's just four guys.
These are things how I know you don't listen to the shows I do with Jeff. Little indicators like this. That's okay.
4 guys sitting around a table eating. And the first thing, hey guys, want some meatloaf?
I would do anything for food, but I won't do that. I can't believe I just did that.
And the smiles that are on Rick and Tyrese's faces are just great.
Yeah.
They're so happy that they get to have food.
Yeah.
And so they're like, yes, we do. However, we have this pretty big group. You think there's enough? And he's like, oh yeah, there's plenty. We made a huge thing.
Yeah.
And so everyone kind of comes in and they each get, a piece of meatloaf.
And then all the people in the group get to meet the prisoners. Like, hey, what's your name? Oh, I'm Rapey McGee. What's your,
Right. Yeah, I mean, there is that kind of awkward interaction where you're like, hey,
no, don't
these
stop
guys,
me, Patterson.
These are
I'm sorry, go ahead.
They're these guys
So
sitting
bad.
in a prison.
I'm Bill Cosby.
They're either...
So bad, so bad, so bad.
Oh.
Well, then when you get stuck in prison, and then... Oh.
Do you think
And
you
the
get
zombies
prison?
have got you cornered in the world of the apocalypse. Okay, done with that joke. Go ahead.
Okay. They do have the interaction of...
It's fine.
They do have the interaction of, hey, you guys were prisoners. What'd you do? Because, like...
Awkward.
Yeah. So we kind of get all of their situations. Armed robbery, tax fraud wasn't his fault. Drugs, possession, stealing, selling, kind of everything. And then the last guy, murder. And everyone's like, what? And he's like, yep. And he's like, don't worry. Unless you're my wife or her boyfriend, you don't have anything to worry about. So you get this like, oh, okay.
Okay.
Everyone laugh.
Oh God. Yeah.
Yeah, we meet the prisoners. I don't know, do we get their names here?
We do. The long-haired hippie one is Axel.
Right, yeah.
And then...
Axel, let's see.
Glasses, big black guy with no hair, not as big black guy with, like, ghetto dreads. We can give them names later when we remember them, okay?
Axel.
Simon.
Axel's the one that...
I'm
Yeah.
throwing these out.
I know they all have names, but I don't want to get hung up on that if we didn't remember them.
Yeah, so we get their story.
It's kind of good to write those things down.
Yeah.
I didn't do it either.
Yeah.
So.
We get their story. They were in the prison, and they joined up with these guards trying to escape. And then they make it to this point in the cafeteria, and they're like, let's grab some food. And the guards sneak away, and they lock them in.
Oh, snap.
Yeah. And, like, I get the thought behind...
Like, we'll come back, maybe? No.
Yeah, if things settle down, we'll be able to come back, and we'll be able to say, hey, these guys had food, they, you know...
Dumb plan on the guards, because they didn't make it on the outside.
No.
But it probably happened, like, right at the beginning of the thing, the apocalypse.
Yeah.
And you make a lot of dumb decisions that'll get you killed right off the bat.
Absolutely, yeah.
And
so,
everyone is left is like, they managed not to do dumb things, or, whatever.
Oh, we get their names now.
Okay, good. Good.
Dexter, the large black man who committed murder, decides to take them on a tour
Yeah.
of kind of like where they've already been and kind of the places that are kind of clear of zombies at this point. So he takes them to their kind of like storeroom with all the food, and they're like, "Hey, look at all this!" And so we find out his name is Dexter. The long-haired hippie-looking guy, his name is Axel.
Mm-hmm.
The ex-junkie, the drug guy, his name was Andrew. And the tax fraud guy, his name is Thomas.
Now, Andrew and I already forgot the big black guy.
Dexter.
They are homosexual partners in crime. And
Yeah.
that's not a pun. Or it is a pun. No pun intended.
Right.
Partners in crime
Yeah.
because they're criminals. But it's kind of like of convenience because they were prisoners.
Right.
Although I get the impression that the druggy one was like gay already or something.
I think,
Or more into it than the big guy.
Right, yeah.
Anyway, it doesn't really matter.
Uh,
Prison.
And so
Okay.
they come to the freezer, and Rick wants to go in to see what kind of food's left in there. He's like, no, you don't want to go in there. Which kind of raises some questions with Rick, and he's like, why don't we want to go in there?
It's like,
I
we
think I
use it
do.
as the toilet.
Yeah, that was a toilet. You don't want to go in there.
And they're like,
it is
way to go
the
using the
grossest.
freezer as the toilet. Oh, they don't have electricity.
right. Yeah.
But, you could have... Oh, do they have running water? Well, they didn't have any water. They'd have died, so they must have running water.
They must have something.
So, like, you could have peed in the sink and rinsed it down. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Unless it was all kind of packed away water, and you wouldn't want to waste that.
Yeah, there are things.
If it was like a well or something like that.
So, anyway. But they're in prison. Maybe they're probably not the smartest guys in the world.
Yeah.
So, anyway.
So he kind of leads them to the gym, and he's like, look, we've not been past this part very much. We don't know what's over here. You guys take the lead because you're the ones with the weapons. And so they break the handcuffs that have locked the gym closed. And they kind of stumble in, and it's full of zombies. And so they just
Crap.
quickly close it again. And I guess they didn't break it. They unlocked it.
This is the gymnasium?
Yeah.
So you know these zombies are really cut.
Yeah, oh, totally.
They're looking good.
He points out the laundry room. Not much in there. They do kill a walker. He takes them to the kind of the garage. There's a couple prison buses, and there's gasoline there.
Put down the gasoline. Oh, wait, I'm sorry, wrong thing.
Right. A few squad cars. And so he leads them back to the prison block there in the C block.
Mm-hmm.
And A block and B block are still kind of closed off and full of zombies, and so they don't want to go over there yet.
Mm-hmm.
He tells them that in A block is where kind of the administrative offices are. That's where you're gonna find your more comfortable stuff. The stuff like the couches,
Sure.
Maybe extra just like amenities.
Sure.
Coats, hand sanitizer, gloves, maybe.
Who knows?
Yeah.
Non-felons.
Right, yeah. And we kind of flash back to C block with and it's an interaction between Carol and Lori, who have kind of become pretty close friends at this point.
Sure.
They're roughly the same age. They relate to each other a lot. Tyrese is listening in. He's staying with Carol.
Yeah, they've gotten the hookup. That's
Right.
the thing. Yo.
But then we're reminded that Glenn stayed back at Herschel's place
Mm-hmm.
because
He
they're kind
was-
of arguing a little bit, Lori and Carol.
Right.
Because they're arguing because Lori does not like the idea of staying in the same place with felons,
Right.
no matter their crime.
Right.
And so, really, if you think about it, murder kind of a skill you might kind of need in
Yeah.
in the zombie apocalypse. Not the worst thing.
I remember
to be able to
the
do.
handful of prisoners that were left in the prison on the show. They were, at least the bulk of them were complete POSs, and
Right.
I remember one, like, Rick just killed that guy with the machete because he was not going to listen. He was going to be a problem.
Right. Yeah.
Um,
He really likes that machete.
Yeah.
He's killed a few people with it. Red handle.
Yeah, it's pretty rad.
Yeah.
The Axel on the show was like that Southern guy. I remember he got killed when the governor's people showed up. He was having a nice conversation with Carol on a nice day, and then just shot in the head.
Right. Yeah.
Like, whoa.
Yeah.
So.
And so Lori and Carol are arguing about this, and Rick shows up and he's like, yeah, about Glenn and them, I'm going to go get them. We have this giant prison yard that would be perfect for gardening.
Yeah.
And none of us know how to do that.
Right.
We don't know what it's like for Herschel and the families back there.
Right.
We need to get Glenn back.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to bring them back here.
Yeah.
And that really kind of pisses Lori off, as I remember.
She's not. Is she pissed that he's going to get them, or pissed that she's being left alone with the prisoners?
Left alone,
or without Rick.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
She's left. Yeah. Rick shows up, and it's actually a bit surprising. Herschel is burning the bodies of a bunch of zombies.
Right. So more and more have been showing up.
Right. Which is, I mean, it's the opposite of how they left Herschel.
Yeah.
With him kind of hoarding them in his barn, and
they killed all the barn zombies, though.
Right, but
when they first showed up.
He had a barn full of zombies.
Right. I'm going to save them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And at this point, he's kind of come to the realization, help's not coming.
Right.
There's not going to be a cure.
Right.
We
and he's lost, like, most of his children.
Right, yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Yikes. Well, he had a big family, but jeez.
Right.
You know, pretty intense, yo.
Rick invites them back, and Herschel, it seems like Herschel's gonna, like, argue, like, hell no, this is my home. And immediately he says, that makes a lot of sense. Let's go.
Yeah.
And so he packs everyone up, and Otis stays behind to tend to the livestock.
Sure.
Just so that, like, walkers don't get to them, and, you know,
sure.
that kind of crap.
I mean, I think if the prison plan was going to work long term, they might even be able to bring some livestock.
Yeah.
So
that was their thought. Yeah.
So
we have a big burn going on with all the bodies that they cleaned out of the prison so far. Yeah.
So in the zombie apocalypse, mass graves become a thing.
Well, I mean, you have to. I mean,
yeah. Unmarked graves.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, your only risk isn't just getting bit by a zombie. It's all the disease that is carried by dead things.
Yeah, and really that is downplayed a lot in both, so far in the comics that we've read anyway, and the TV show. It's like, how about, I'm surprised there haven't had to, like, a cholera outbreak.
Yeah.
That's killed half the group.
Well, in the TV show, they do have that.
In the prison, there was a disease.
Yeah.
That kills off a bunch of people.
It's unnamed, but yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and maybe it was something like cholera. Who knows? But I would think that would be a reality.
Right. And they haven't dealt with that in here yet.
I read an article, this is a quick tangent because I want to get back to this, but on Cracked, actually, that it was like, the zombie apocalypse, things wouldn't be all that bad. Because, the disease factor, that's a thing. But, like, zombies, totally disorganized. And they're dumb. And they can't plan. They can't heal. They're going to be tripping and falling all over the place all the time. They're going to be, like, putrefying. The weather would just, like, destroy them. Mm-hmm. So, it would be a livable situation.
Obviously, he's going to be the first one to die.
Okay. I mean, like, things would change, but, like, dude, like...
Okay, so, we jump back to the prison.
Mm-hmm.
And Herschel's there, everyone's kind of there, and they're all excited to see everyone. obviously because the group is kind of back together.
Mm-hmm.
And Tyrese informs Rick how upset Lori is with the decision to keep the inmates around.
Yeah.
She's not happy about it, and Rick's like, that's good to know, but this place is worth keeping those guys around. I mean, just defensively, it's way better from zombies. And I think he's already thinking ahead to, like, look, we haven't had to deal with a lot of other people yet,
Yeah.
but sooner or later, they're going to want what we have. I think that's what makes him such a good leader, is that
He's
able
realizing,
to,
okay, having them around, they could be useful into helping to defend the place.
Right, yeah. And that the place itself is worth having people that might not like you might not agree with. You know what I mean? Like, I guess that's a little soft on like crime and stuff. But
Well, here's the thing. It's the zombie apocalypse. Your life is prison anyway.
right, yeah,
So, like, dude, whatever. You know, it's sort of kind of you get a do-over.
right. And so like, and
It's what you do from the apocalypse forward. I think
Mhm.
that matters at this point.
their biggest probably issues are the fact that it was an armed robbery, but that guy doesn't have a weapon now anyways. And
Yeah.
there's like 15 of us and one of him. The guy who murdered, but he's already said, look, unless you're
Yeah.
yeah. And then like a guy who committed tax fraud, whatever. That guy's a nerd.
Mhm.
And then a drug addict. There's really no drugs that he can get a hold of
So,
at this point. So
yeah.
like, even the crimes that these guys committed,
yeah.
not that big of a deal. If one of them was an arsonist, that would be an issue. You know what I
Right.
mean?
But that is assuming that they're telling the truth about what they did.
That's true.
So,
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
Caveat there. So,
One thing I did want to mention on this kind of couple pages, Tyrese and Rick are still talking, and he says, one thing I noticed was Alan. I think I saw him smiling, which is it's a huge, like, if he actually saw him smiling, it's a huge step in the right direction, because Alan is almost useless at this point.
yeah.
I mean, going back even a few pages, him sitting on top of the RV, he's not keeping watch, he's crying. Which, his wife just died.
Yeah.
So, like, he needs to grieve a little bit. But,
yeah. But you also need to be a man and, like, don't just be a complete, like, sad sack, like,
Right,
not
yeah.
contributing to the group in the situation.
Yeah, totally.
You can't just shut down, because
Yeah.
that can get you killed in the zombie apocalypse.
It can get other people killed as well.
Word.
And so Rick and Tyrese make it back to all the people like who have gathered and are like happy. And Lori immediately kind of attacks Rick verbally and says, "How can you leave us here? How can you allow these inmates to stay here? How can you do all this stuff?" And he's like, "Whoa, whoa, whoa, whoa! What are you doing, lady?" And he kind of explains the situation, and immediately. He's like, "We've got the guns, we've got the numbers, we don't have to worry about them." And she immediately kind of
Was that intended as a reference to the Doors?
No.
They got the guns, bud. We got the numbers. No?
Oh.
Spencer
Maybe
doesn't know
it
what I'm
is.
even talking about.
No.
Okay.
I am not.
Aside, my notification thing on my phone
Yeah.
is from his rant on the live album where he starts yelling, "You're a bunch of slaves."
Wow.
Yeah. It's
What are you gonna do about it? Wow.
alright, now light my fire.
So Rick kind of reassures her, and immediately she breaks down. She's like, "Oh my god, I'm a horrible person. I would have never thought this."
She's just
before,"
moody from pregnant stuff.
That's exactly that's what Rick says. He says hormones. And Lori
Kiss him in the balls.
Lori punches him. "You jerk! Don't make fun of me." Yeah. And Tyrese is kind of chuckling off to the side. So we kind of continue with Lori. The story does. Talking with Carol. She's like, "Am I fat?" As males, we know that the answer to that question is absolutely not. You look beautiful.
Uh-huh.
However, Carol immediately looks at her and says, "Hell yeah, you're fat." you're freaking pregnant. Of course you are.
Yeah.
Which, I even got a little nervous that Lori was going to punch her. But she didn't. She continues and says, look, I wasn't showing this much when I had Carl. And Carol kind of brings up, well, are you sure your timeline's right? Kind of implying, like, maybe this happened before you think it did.
Yeah.
Maybe this was with Shane and not,
Yeah.
Which, I mean, everyone is thinking that already.
Right.
But Rick and Lori have just decided not to talk about it.
Because that's what settles things.
Oh,
We
absolutely.
don't talk about that.
We have a great interaction between Rick and Herschel,
Yeah.
where Herschel kind of walks up to Rick and he's like, hey, you got a minute? He's like, yeah, I got a few. And Herschel kind of starts talking about his, like, recent interactions with Rick prior to them coming to the prison. And he says, look, I was going to shoot you. I was going to murder you. Because you remember, he had the gun to Rick's head.
Yeah.
And that situation fell apart really quickly. And he says, I was so filled with grief, I was out of my mind. All I can say is sorry. And Rick, like, kind of laughs. He's like, you know what? Water under the bridge, man. We're all good.
Mm-hmm.
This place is a new start for us. And you really see that amongst all of the kind of the people in this group, is that the prison is a place where they can take a breath. They're not on the run like they were in the RV when they were on their way to Herschel's house, when they were on their way away from Herschel's house. Like, they were on the run. They're able to stay here and just decompress, even just a little bit, which, I mean, has got to be great on their, like, morale, their, psychological, like, stuff they're already dealing with.
Yeah.
And so for Rick to give that to Herschel is bigger than Herschel. I think I don't think Herschel believes that he deserves the break that Rick gave him.
Yeah. It takes a big person to do that. I
Yeah.
get what you're saying. And that's good. It's a nice reminder. Rick's a good guy.
Yeah.
And forgiveness is extremely valuable in this world.
Right.
So.
And much to the greatness of this book and the TV show, as soon as something great happens, something crazy and terrible also happens.
I wonder if, like, Joss Whedon is secretly, like, plotting.
Stephen Moffat a little bit.
Stephen Moffat?
Yeah, he's evil. He's a terrible
What does
man.
Stephen Moffat have to do with this? Stephen
Pushing
Moffat?
buttons behind the scene to get all the terrible in there while we're happy.
Oh, okay, because I'm like, that's not who does The Walking Dead. Okay. It's,
No.
what's his
What?
name?
What?
It's Robert Gert.
I really hope the doctor shows up in this.
That's the thing. How come there isn't a Doctor Who with zombies? Give it time.
Yeah.
So, anyway.
So
Nazi zombies. That's what, they'll do something weird like that. Okay, anyway.
So, just kind of insight into Spencer's life. Sean was able to get me a way to read the comics on my phone.
He pirated them digitally.
No, I didn't.
Okay.
And so, while at work...
Sean didn't do that.
While at work, whenever I have downtime, I'm able to read comics on my phone.
Yay! I do that too.
Yeah. It's a great way to spend your time. When I got to this point, I was in the library with a few of my students.
Mm-hmm.
And I immediately started panicking because when we
it's
turn the
naked
page,
sex time.
it is naked sex time.
The best time in the world.
Between Chris and Julie.
Yeah.
Tyrese's daughter and her boyfriend.
Yeah.
They're in kind of a shower area.
Mm-hmm.
And it's post coitus.
Uh-huh.
And they, how was it? This was both our first time, like, was it everything we wanted it to be? And, oh, it was perfect. It was the best thing ever.
Lie!
Right.
It was awkward and short.
I loved it, and I love you. It was perfect, exactly how I always imagined. Which I'm going to call bull, because no one imagines that their first time is going to be during the zombie apocalypse in the shower floor of a prison.
Although, how this ends up, you never know.
You never know. So they start talking, and they're like, look, they're probably all asleep now. Are you ready to do this? And so, yeah, I'm ready. And both of them are holding guns. And we flash over to Rick, Lori, and Carl sleeping.
Hearing the gunshot.
And then hearing a gunshot. Rick flying out of the bed. Alan waking up and, no, stay here. I'll go deal with this. And Rick turns the corner. Tyrese! And Tyrese is holding the dead body of his... dead, naked body of his daughter.
Yeah.
No. However, Chris, the boyfriend, is...
still there. They were supposed to fire at the same time or something dumb like that.
He's whimpering in the corner. It wasn't supposed to be like this. It wasn't supposed to be like this. Obviously, they had this weird suicide pact.
Gross.
Post-sex suicide pact. And she fired before him.
Uh-huh.
And he saw what...
Did she shoot herself?
Yeah, she shot herself.
Oh, okay.
And he saw what happened, and he backed down.
He hesitated.
Right.
Oh.
And
so then Tyrese kills the crap out of him.
Yeah.
Which, you know what? Fine.
Well, first, hold on.
Oh, okay.
Julie comes back while Tyrese is holding her.
Oh.
And she's holding him, and he
right.
he begins to try to talk sense into her. Like,
nope.
It's he says, it's not something we've tried before. I've got to try this,
She's gonna try you, mister.
Right.
In her mouth.
Yeah,
With teeth.
Thank you.
Chomping
Yeah.
and biting and tearing the flesh.
And so Rick is, Rick says, move your head, I need to get a clear shot. And Tyrese is flipping out, saying, no, don't do this. All that. We see a hand with a gun, and we see blam! And the shot has...
now, who fired the shot?
Chris has fired the shot.
Oh.
Yeah. So, not only...
pretty collected after... Yeah.
Yeah, not only has the suicide pact that he was in failed and killed Tyrese's daughter, he then kills her again by shooting her in the head.
Yeah.
While Tyrese is holding her.
Yeah.
And Tyrese goes nuts and he strangles the kid to death. And Rick's like, look, we gotta get out of here. We need to put a bullet in his head. He's gonna come back. And Tyrese says, no. He's gonna kill him again, and he's gonna kill him slower.
Holy crap.
Tyrese has lost it.
Yeah.
He is done.
Now, in that moment, don't you think you would probably lose it too?
Oh,
absolutely not.
I'm not blaming Tyrese for anything.
Okay.
This
is a wonderful opportunity to thin out the cast.
Oh yeah. I have no idea what I would do myself. I don't have a daughter, let alone ever seen someone killed in front of me.
Yeah.
I have no idea what my reaction would be.
Yeah.
But if my daughter was killed in front of me, my reaction probably wouldn't be that different than Tyrese's.
Right.
I might not physically be able to kill someone, but
you never know.
I'd want to.
Sure.
I'm sure. And Rick, being the guy that he is, leaves Tyrese to do whatever he needs to do to this kid.
Yeah.
He brings the news to everyone, lets them know, and then he says, we all need to get to some sleep.
Okay.
Yeah. But Rick doesn't sleep. Rick, is,
Plots.
I wouldn't say plots, he's just so, We mentioned this last night when we were watching the show. Like,
I am
all of
one
these-
episode behind, so don't tell me
oh,
a thing.
no,
Okay.
no. All of these characters have suffered such PTSD that it's kind of concerning. You know, like
Yeah.
how they're even able to function at this point is
Is it
incredible.
PTSD or is this just like there's a deadening of certain things in you? Like, okay.
I think it's PTSD.
Okay. I mean, I don't know.
It's traumatic events that they've witnessed.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm not even gonna argue.
So Rick meets Tyrese out by the burn pile, and he's taken the bodies of both his daughter and Chris to the burn pile. And you know, he kind of turns, just, "Hey, thanks, Rick, for letting me have that moment." And he seems fine,
Yeah.
and it's weird.
And that's creepy.
Red
Yeah.
flags.
Mhm.
So
So we have, you know, Axel, and he's like, "Hey, I heard some kids died. What's going on with that?" And
yeah, way to be.
I mean, it's almost that direct,
Who died?
you know. Yeah. So as he's walking away, Laurie says, "Hey, keep an eye on him, or on that one." And Rick's like, "Oh, on all of them." And so, like,
You're talking about the prisoners.
yeah.
Okay.
And so we're starting to get this like kind of fracturing between the main group and the prisoners.
Well, you know what? There was never a strong level of trust there.
Mhm.
So
Rick actually decides to take off for the day. He doesn't tell anyone where he's going, and he just leaves.
Yeah.
And so that's a little concerning.
is this where he goes to kill Shane again, or did he do that already?
Yes, I
What?
believe so.
Yes, doesn't. This is when he goes to
Yes, this is when he goes to kill Shane. Yeah.
to dig him up. Yeah. Okay.
To dig him up and
Kill him
re-kill
again.
him. Yeah. We have a super creepy interaction between
Thomas,
Thomas and Patricia,
Yeah.
Otis's wife, or
daughter,
ex
girlfriend.
girlfriend wife situation. They've kind of broken up at this point.
I don't think they were married.
No,
I
okay.
think he was the boyfriend of
What?
Patricia.
Yeah, whatever relationship
Patricia
they had.
is one of
has
Herschel's
ended.
last daughters.
Yeah.
Right? Because
I think-
Otis isn't his boy.
I thought they were just a separate family.
Gosh, I don't even remember. It doesn't
There's
matter.
So much happens.
Doesn't matter so much.
Yeah, so super creepy interaction between Thomas and Patricia.
Foreshadowing.
Yeah. Glenn and Maggie
Decide to get haircuts.
Yeah.
Sex haircuts.
Yep.
They get the naughtiness and they cut their hair.
Yeah, both.
Yeah.
Happens at the same time. We get a couple things of couple panels of Rick traveling still,
Mhm.
and he's on a motorcycle, which makes a lot of noise, and he sees that all the zombies that are kind of behind him have kind of turned and are now following him.
Interesting.
Yeah.
It's going to make the trip back crappier.
Yeah, totally. Lori and Carol are doing kind of laundry, like wash and dry and all that stuff. And Lori is pissed that Rick has left again,
Mm-hmm.
just leaving them there with prisoners and people that they don't know very well.
Mhm.
Even the group that they have themselves,
Yeah.
they don't know them very
They
well.
haven't gotten super solid.
Right.
Tyrese has kind of just had a very serious stuff happen. Alan is worthless. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Tyrese approaches Maggie and Glenn and says, "Hey, Glenn, I was thinking about cleaning out the gym. What do you think about that?" "Yeah, let's do it." We then get some more traveling Rick. He's
So is
traveled
Herschel's
back.
back at the prison now, though?
Yeah,
Okay, yeah,
all of them are back at the prison.
yeah. Okay.
Traveling through Wilshire Estates, and then we're back at the gym, and it is kind of full, way more zombies than I think we thought, even when they opened the door.
Right.
And they start, picking off slowly with the guns, and then they move to the melee weapons. But they're almost immediately overwhelmed.
Yeah.
And Tyrese goes nuts and just starts fighting him off like crazy,
Mm-hmm.
and they kind of surround him.
Yeah.
And his pals kind of like he's completely overwhelmed.
And Glenn ends up feeling like, crap, I have to leave.
Right? No, totally.
Yeah.
Um,
And so Glenn leaves him in there, and they think
Sorry.
Tyrese has died.
Glenn and Andrea. Andrea was also someone in there.
Yeah, okay, I
I didn't
forgot.
mention that.
So they both end up splitting and leaving Tyrese in the gym.
Right.
Sealing it up.
So we fall back to Rick. He's traveling. He's stopped. He has a shovel. He's digging something up, and he's dug up Shane.
Yeah.
And he has a short conversation with him that says, "Look, all the shit that we went through, I can't deal with knowing that you're also in the ground, still alive. It's something I have to deal with. I like to think if, even with all the shit that we went through, if I was back here, you might do the same for me. Probably not.
You really
But-
think he's doing this as a courtesy, or is it a big to like stick it to him one more time?
I think it's something to end that chapter.
For closure?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. He takes him. He shoots him in the head, but then like there's a little bit of what you said though. I think because he just leaves him at that point. He doesn't rebury him.
Yeah.
Because I think when he was burying him, it was still his old friend.
And this is saying like,
You know what? The shitty kind of person you were in your life reflects how you are now.
I want you dead forever.
Yeah.
Totally.
And then he just leaves it at that.
Okay.
Yeah. We then have Herschel searching for his younger two daughters.
Back at the prison.
Yeah.
Hey, where'd
Oh
they
no,
go?
sorry. He's looking for Maggie and Glenn.
Right.
And he's getting a little nervous because he's having to go deeper into
Yeah.
darker territory.
His two other daughters, they knew that Maggie and Glenn had found like the barber shop, and they're like, hey, we want to get haircuts too.
Right.
And what does Herschel find?
Oh god.
He finds his two younger daughters with their heads cut off.
Heads cut off. Not bitten. Not chewed on. Their heads cut off.
And then the heads are, of course, gagging like,
Yeah.
zombie heads now,
Absolutely.
Right? So,
Yep. Rick's on his way back, and he has to deal with the fact that the zombies have kind of followed him.
yeah.
Luckily, he's on a motorcycle,
Yeah.
which seems
He
to...
can cover a lot of ground, but what if he comes into a herd? He's
right,
screwed.
yeah. Maggie walks in behind Herschel, and he shows her, and, I mean, it is... This is the worst thing in the book so far.
Really?
Oh,
yeah.
The gurgling heads, like, they're staring at you while you're having to look through these few panels.
Yeah.
It is terrible. And they're, like, they're zombie-ish. And
And it's little girls.
yeah.
It's messed up, man.
Yeah. And so, Andrea has to be pulled out of the gym.
Oh, we're still back at the scene. That
Yeah.
that didn't get finished up.
No.
Okay.
Sorry. Andrea's pulled out of the... Andrea and Glenn... Glenn pulls Andrea out of the gym with the help of Bill, Herschel's youngest son.
Man, I
Billy,
forgot about
sorry.
Bill.
He's really easy to forget. He pops up later on every once in a while, and you're like, oh yeah, that guy's still alive. I
Yeah.
forgot about him.
Yeah.
And so they end up leaving Tyrese
Uh-huh.
in the gym. We then have this shot of a shower scene with Lori and Carol.
Just talking it up. And
Yeah.
Axel stumbles through by mistake.
He's like, oh, sorry, ladies. I'll get out of here right now.
I'm having a wonderful time.
He then heads back and he's talking to Andrew, the ex-junkie.
Yeah.
And he's like, hey, if you need a few good thoughts in your head, why don't you head to the shower? By accident, you'll get an eyeful. And Andrew says, no, man, I'm not like that. Me and Dexter's, we got this relationship. Nothing's going to change between us. And
Like,
Axel's
yeah, right.
and Axel's like, no, there's ladies here now. Your relationship's going to change. And that really kind of upsets Andrew.
Right. Because he got clean off. He's got no more dope to do. So his man relationship is all he's kind of got.
Right, yeah.
Man relationship. Is that a new word? No.
Relationship?
Yeah, there you go.
I just wanted to further allude to his...
It's homosexuality.
Yeah, I don't know why. Why am I hanging up on that? I don't know. It doesn't really matter. So.
Lori and Carol make their way out to the yard where the kids are with Alan and Dale. And then Billy Andrea and Glenn come up and they have to break the news that Tyrese is dead. And that they had to leave him there, and that obviously he's dead. Carol flips out, and Billy's like, "Hey, where's my dad and Maggie?" Which is bad just keeps building. First we have Tyrese's daughter, then we have Herschel's daughter, then we have Rick doing his thing away from wherever they are.
Mm-hmm.
Tyrese is now, dead. Just terribleness is happening everywhere. And then Dexter kind of comes out. Oh, what the hell's going on out here? Something happened? Oh.
If you want an eyeful.
Yeah. Glenn goes and finds Maggie and Herschel, and he goes in and he takes care of business with the two heads.
Yeah.
Because, how can you ask your father to do
right?
that?
Politely.
Yeah. Everyone goes and confronts Dexter. You sick fuck. You're the worst kind of scum, and they lock him in his cell.
Because they just assume that he did it.
The murderer did it.
Sure. Laurie is there comforting Carol. The kids are asleep in a bed, and Laurie's kind of holding her. And then Carol starts to lose it. She's had a terrible time. She just lost Tyrese, and she kind of turns and she kisses Laurie because Laurie's, been there for her.
Yeah.
And it's weird.
Carol is looking for attachment.
Yeah, absolutely.
All the time. And you just notice you never see her have any moments like clinging to her daughter.
Yeah. Stuff is there. And anytime anyone asks about Sophia, she's like, "Oh, yeah, she doesn't want to talk, or she's fine." Like we
You're
don't
kind of
get
just ignoring your child and just kind of
right.
This might actually, now that you're mentioning this might have an effect on Sophia later that you'll notice. She develops this sort of coping mechanism to deal with all the death that'll come up.
Oh, okay.
This is actually a good point to remember.
Okay, thank you, Sean.
Yeah.
Sean's read farther ahead than either of us.
Right.
So.
And Laurie takes it as well as she can, and says, "Look, I know you're going through a lot."
If I were Laurie, I'd take it as far as I can.
Laurie, she's like, "You're going through a lot right now," but no.
Yeah.
I love Rick. He's the man.
So Laurie basically says she is strictly dickly.
Yeah.
That's a thing. I had a
It is now.
I had a girlfriend years ago use that term, and I thought it was hilarious.
Then we have Andrea and Dale in bed together, and they're kind of talking about, Dale. It's kind of always the same interaction whenever we have this scene with them. I'm old. How could you love me? Oh, I love you no matter what. Oh, my dead wife. Oh, I love you still.
Sad.
Yeah.
So,
Well, I'm
man.
here, so stop complaining.
Yeah.
Dale has really moved on up in the. He is elevated in life in the zombie apocalypse.
He seems content to push it away.
Yeah. So,
Rick shows up back at the prison. Glenn opens up the gate, and then he has to explain to Rick
all the shizzle that has gone forth.
That has happened.
So what you're gone doing, whatever.
Like some serious shit has gone down.
Right, and the first thing he worries about is Tyrese.
Yeah.
And he asks, "Did you see the body?" And
well,
Glenn
no.
can't answer, and so
They go to check.
Yeah.
Oh, Tyrese is fine.
This
He's
is-
killed the crap out of all the zombies.
This is like the best part of the comic.
Really?
Up until this point, I think. I
It
just
is
think
pretty-
from it's so badass.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's kind of just sitting there like,
Where were you?
yeah. Where'd you guys go?
You think he'd be kind of mad at Glenn and Andrea?
Maybe, but at the same time, like, he was in this like berserker frenzy.
And he kind of got to work out his stuff.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I think he needed this, and he was fine, so
Right.
I guess he's in a strong position to forgive, like, I'm fine.
Right. But it still has Rick concerned.
Sure.
Because that's not a good way to deal with your grief.
Right.
You know?
Why?
Rick then has to go talk to Dexter about, the two little girls that the rest of the group thinks were murdered by him.
Right.
And then he goes and talks to Herschel about all the stuff that's happened, and hey, if you need anything, I'm here for you, and all that crap. Alan, at the same time, is talking to his boys about everything dies and nothing you love stays.
And they're crying, and it's like, die!
Yeah. Obviously it's a conversation that you're going to have with your kids.
But not when they're like 6.
And not that blunt.
No.
Yeah.
No.
You love your brother, do you? He's going to die.
Right, yeah.
And then he'll try to kill you.
Then he'll eat you. Rick and Tyrese finally have a time before they can kind of talk
hug it out.
Some of Tyrese's issues out. And Tyrese says, I've done all this. I don't have time to be sad. We have to worry about the group. And Rick's like, all right, man, I'm going to take you at your word. Let's get some sleep. Andrea's in the laundry room, and good old Thomas shows up, and he's like, hey, you need some help with the clothes? No, I'm all right.
Oh, I'm going to try and kill you then.
What are you doing down there? And he pulls a knife on Andrea.
Yeah.
But Andrea's not one to be trifled with.
Really not.
She's like Carol in the show.
Yeah. She's way more likable in this than she is in the show.
Oh, TV Andrea hated her.
But she lets Thomas have it. She clocks him. She rips his face. But he gets her in the head with the gun. Knocks her a little bit.
Yeah.
And she gets a nice little cut on her face.
Yeah.
A scar that stays with her.
Right.
But so now we know. Oh, Thomas, psycho, misogynist.
Yeah.
Wants to cut off heads.
Yeah.
Thank God we have the real murderer, though.
So,
did you know who did it? Can you figure it out?
The story quickly shifts to Rick.
Oh my gosh.
And Rick, head in hands, and he's weeping, and he's kind of freaking out,
card face.
The death of all those girls is on me. If I hadn't have left.
Well, that's not certain.
Right. Oh no, but it's all my fault, Lori. Those girls are dead because of me. He brought all of them to the prison. He let all the prisoners, stay there. He didn't kick the prisoners out. He, let them wander around. Of course he's going to internalize that, So then Lori starts kind of questioning him, and she's like, where did you go? And he kind of tells her the story of, I went and dug up Shane, and I shot him. Oh, okay, honey. That's good for you.
Hey, Carl, come. It's not family time.
Then we have Herschel and Billy kind of sitting together, and Herschel is just 1,000-yard stare. Both of them, actually, 1,000-yard stare. And he kind of whispers, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. And Billy lets him have it. The hell are you talking about? Shut up. This is all your fault. You brought us here.
Stupid old man.
Yeah, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Then we switch again over to a conversation between Andrew, the ex-junkie, and Dexter, the guy that they've locked up for the murder of the girls.
Yeah.
And Dexter is like, look, this group is crazy. It's only a matter of time before they kill us. I need you to get into... I can't remember what cell block it is or near, but...
It doesn't matter.
You need to get into the armory and get us weapons. Quickly and quietly. And so Andrew's like, hell yeah, I'm going to do that for you. I still love you.
Because I still love you.
You're my bear, boo.
The next few pages are kind of things settling down and getting back to normal.
Yeah.
So they're trying to figure out ways to clear the fence.
Mm-hmm.
Carol and Tyrese have some adult time in the gym.
Yeah.
Sophie kisses Carl.
Sophie kisses Carl because
Sophia.
he agrees.
It was Sophie's choice.
Because he agrees to be her boyfriend.
Yeah.
So they hold hands and they kiss.
Aww.
And he manages not to throw
And then, as soon as everything's kind of settled down a little...
Andrew come bursting out, and Thomas is chasing her with a knife. Oh, so What?
Time to get your medicine, you fucking whore.
Well,
Okay.
what a stand-up guy he turned out to be.
Right. And Rick
Thank God we have the real murderer.
Yeah. Rick immediately jumps into action and starts beating the shit out of Thomas.
Dude, he breaks the crap out of his hand.
He might
beating
him
actually defecate while Rick is punching his face.
Yes,
so it might be
actually,
literal.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Uh,
but he literally beats him so bad, Rick messes up his hand,
Yeah.
hitting this guy so
Like-
much and so hard.
His hand might not function properly.
right.
Virtual
Yeah,
says.
and that's ongoing. Like, that's still, stuff.
And it's not his, like, offhand. It is
His right hand.
his
His
right hand.
shooting hand.
Yeah. Lori tries to pull him off, and he throws her off.
Yeah,
Oh, no, sorry. Andrea pulls Lori off of Rick,
yeah.
and she's like, don't stop him. Let him do
He
what he
tried
has
to kill me.
Yeah. And then finally Tyrese shows up, and he's able to rip him off of
Yeah.
Thomas's face.
Rick's hand
There's
is
like-
messed
Yeah.
There are like
up.
teeth lodged in his hand.
And Thomas is
Yeah.
totally bitched up his
Looks
face.
okay. I mean,
But,
it'll buff
good.
out.
Yeah. I can't help but think the same thing.
Yeah,
Good. You don't get to kill little girls and get away with it.
yeah.
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 And so we have these pretty cool full page splash pages.
Yeah.
Yeah. Of
It's a nice
the
two-page
group-
splash that
yeah.
happens here.
The group standing over Thomas, like looking on, and then like Alan and
It's also reaction shots.
yeah, Alan like pushing the kids away, like, oh, we gotta get these kids out of here. So he's doing something
Barely.
a little bit, yeah.
Yeah.
When they find out if he's dead or not. No, he's not. He's still alive. And so then they have to decide what they're going to actually do with him. And so Rick says, we're killing this guy.
But let's poop on his face first.
This is when they develop the law, isn't it?
the law, yeah.
Yeah.
So the one law that they absolutely have is
You kill,
you
die.
kill, you die.
Spoilers, that law doesn't stick around too long.
No.
Oh man!
And
Seems
Lori,
pretty good, but,
Lori immediately like, wait a minute. We kill him, we're as bad as him. Letting
bullshit.
him go is going to be way worse than
But there's a chance he could survive and cause harm to other people out there.
yeah.
There's no,
Yeah.
you don't let this guy live.
Andrea chimes in. She's like, "No way! We are killing this dude. Look at this cut on my face."
Yeah.
And you can see Dale looking on like, "Oh, she's less pretty now."
But I'm like 60 years old, so it's okay. I'll deal,
Makes me feel a little better, actually.
Yeah, now she'll never leave me. Yeah, God, that's so
She's
bad.
got her one thing.
Oh man.
So, sorry, we jumped the gun a little bit on the new law. Tyrese actually asked the question, like, "Hey, we're reestablishing some kind of society here.
Okay.
If we're gonna do that, we have to have rules. This has to be the first rule. What
Yeah.
do we do? If you kill, what do we do about it?"
Right.
And Rick says, "You kill, you die. It's simple as that." It is not simple as that, listeners.
No.
For right now, it is.
For right now, yeah.
We'll worry about the other stuff when we come to it.
Dale immediately says, "That works for me." Patricia says, "He was so nice. He
Yeah.
was so nice."
Nice and
Lori,
creepy.
"So that's it. You're just gonna make the decision for all of us." And Rick's like, "You know what? Yeah. You guys force this on me. I'm in charge. You kill, you die. Listen to yourself. You're my husband. You prick. Not my father." Lori, shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
Lori walks away.
I wish she'd have said that
Oh
to
my
TV,
God.
Lori.
Oh, well, yeah. Everyone wishes that.
I
And then he turns to the rest of the group.
think everyone wishes he'd have put a gun in her mouth and said, "Lori, shut the fuck up," and pulled the trigger. To TV, Lori. Let's be real here.
Rick turns to the rest of the group and says, "I trust my wife is the only one that is against capital punishment at this point. We have to make an example of Thomas. We have to make this statement once and for all. We do not kill."
We need horses. 4 of them.
Ooh. So, I think at this point in the story,
wild horses couldn't drag me away. Okay.
In this instance, it would.
Yeah.
I'm
being pulled in all these directions. Yeah.
Scattered to the winds.
That's just one of my favorite Stones songs, though. Anyway, go.
At this point in the story,
Sorry.
they have to start developing these rules. Even if they decide that, yeah, Rick's in charge, there has to be some kind of like, okay, he's in charge, but what is he in charge of? You know,
Right.
He needs to be in charge of enforcing these rules and making decisions for the group. And so they come down and say, we do not tolerate it. We will not allow it. That is our rule, our pledge. You kill, you die. No exceptions. Now, help me get Thomas up. This becomes a little more gray later on. Rick looks at his hand and he says, we're going to hang him. So it's like, it's not even like a simple death.
Wouldn't you just throw him to the zombies?
Well, my thought is like put a bullet in his head and throw him to zombies.
Well, they won't touch him if he's dead. They won't do anything to him. Throw him to the zombies when he's alive.
Oh.
That's what I'd do.
You don't think they won't eat him if he's dead?
They don't. They're not cannibals.
If he's freshly dead. They would.
Yeah, he's still fresh.
If they like popped him in the head and threw him over the fence right away.
Okay.
Yeah, if they killed him and then he turned, it'd be a little different.
Yeah.
Lori returns to the kids and says she has to explain what happened. She explains that Thomas was a douche.
Literally.
Yeah. And that he was a bad man. And then Carl asks, a bad man like Shane? Yeah, a lot like Shane.
Worse.
Yeah, way worse. We don't know whether or not Shane was actually gonna kill Rick. Something could have changed in those few seconds that he had the shotgun pointed at Rick. But I mean, probably not. But he didn't get to make the choice because Carl shot him in the neck.
Even if he killed Rick, though, still wouldn't be as bad as
no. Oh no, totally. Carl says, only I killed Shane before he killed anybody. That's right, but you did the right thing. So did I. Rick walks in on this conversation. He says, I'm doing the right thing too. You don't see it now, but I'm doing the right thing too. And he apologizes to Lori for, telling him to shut up and all that stuff. Dale and Andrea stitching her up. And Rick comes back and he's like, hey, Dale, can you take care of my hand? He's like, probably not, but I got some hydrogen peroxide.
This'll hurt real bad.
Yeah. They're bandaging it up, and Rick basically says, yeah, I don't regret it. I'd do it again. Then Rick has to go and be like, hey, Dexter, sorry about that whole you murdered some girls thing.
Yeah.
And as soon as he releases him, he says, thanks, but, I don't trust a lot of you. I don't trust you at all.
Yeah.
I never trusted Thomas, but I don't trust you guys at all. Let's see. Where did we leave off there? Oh. While all this is happening, Herschel and Billy are still in the prison, in their cell, kind of arguing. And Herschel is laying into Billy, watch your tongue, boy, because Billy's accusing Herschel of all of the terrible stuff that's happened. And Herschel's taking a little far, and Billy's kind of on the ground, like, blocking some shots.
Uh-huh.
Maggie walks in, hey, stop, Rick then has to tell Herschel, hey, we found him, show me, let's get it over with. And at this point, Dale and Andrea have a conversation of, hey, this group is starting to fracture a little bit.
Yeah.
And what is our plan? And so they decide to not overstock, but like get some supplies to the RV, so at any point if they have to, they can take off. Which, I mean, it's not the worst plan, but I mean,
Yeah.
I can see where they're coming from, but I wouldn't want to leave the group, especially where they're at. This is such a great place to be. They drag out Thomas. He's did he die? I can't remember if he died or not.
No, he didn't die. Because they haven't taken him to execute him yet.
Oh,
there's
okay.
There's another thing he does where he ends up dying.
That's right, yeah. Herschel confronts Thomas and he says, "You know what? I forgive you."
And he says, because his mouth is all smashed in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I forgive you. I'll let the Lord be your judge, all that stuff.
Yeah.
And Rick stops and he looks at him and says, "Herschel, we're still going to hang him." He goes, "I know. I want to watch." Ooh.
Okay,
Stand under
so
and watch
you're
him squeal.
so you're not forgiving him all that much.
Not that much, yeah.
Well, because he knows the group isn't going to forgive him, and
Absolutely.
so it's kind of an empty forgiveness. But I'm fine with it.
Maggie won't put out for Glenn. Glenn's like, "Oh man."
Sex is fun.
But
man.
then we have a shot of Thomas laying on the floor of the cell, and Patricia comes by.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And she's like, "I gotta get you out of here. I can't let him kill you. Stand up.
She is so dumb.
I love you.
You're crazy, not evil. You need help. What they want to do to you is wrong."
I love you, gambler.
And as soon as she lifts him up, he turns and starts to try to strangle her.
Yeah.
Like, save it for the next one.
Man, he sure as hell kills.
She's getting you out of there.
He sure hates women.
Yeah.
Man, he does.
But so he's choking her and he punches her, and then she like reaches up and she grabs pieces of his face that are left and like rips them
Wow.
off of his like skull. It is the grossest thing. He pops up, humming whore.
Yeah.
And then Tyrese pulls a gun on him, and he kind of stops. Maggie walks in and just blows him away.
Like a shot, right?
2 shots and then 4 shots, so 6 shots in all.
Was it
Blows
not
him
in the
away.
head though?
No, just through him.
Yeah. Does he die at this point? I can't remember.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Man, really wanted. They throw him to the zombies anyway. All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Jesus Christ! Like, I think he's a little bummed that he doesn't get to hang someone.
Oh, man.
But
Yeah.
at the same time,
Good old fashioned hanging.
Man, I soaked the rope, though.
Oh man. Oh yeah, I forgot you do that.
Yep.
Man, way to be Mr. Numbers there,
Yep.
Sean.
Thank
They-
you, Mystery Channel.
they toss him to the zombies, and Herschel stays and watches him be
And get tore apart.
Watch
Yo.
him get devoured.
be devoured. Yes, that's what I wanted to say.
Being eaten.
Watch his being is.
And so they're kind of discussing it. Is it over? Is it safe to bring the kids out? Yeah, it's over. Where's Patricia? Have you seen her? I don't know. And they're kind of trying to make plans, like they're going to go talk to Patricia.
Yeah.
And from behind them, Dexter and Andrew walk up
With guns.
with shotguns and rifles and ammo and says, "You ain't going to be talking to nobody or bossing anyone around, big man. Not after we're done. Where'd you get these guns? Jesus, what are you doing?" And Dexter, like, Rick goes for his gun. Dexter aims, and Rick has to drop his gun. We have a full page splash.
Yes.
And it's Dexter with the shotgun to the back of Rick's head. I'll make this really simple for you, you farm boy. We were here first, and you wore out your welcome real quick. Get the fuck out of my house.
Okay, and that's where we end chapter 3. So when are
Next week, Billie Jean goes to the dance.
Wow. So here's the thing. Are we going to talk about Chapter 4 next week? Because you and I have both read it already.
Yeah, it's doable.
Okay. So, yeah. Next week we'll be talking about that. And I'm just going to end abruptly because awkward time.
Awkward!
Awkward!